Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lara, or Lara Likes Mascara. Today there's a ton of construction going on, but right now there's a little bit of a break, so I'm really hoping that continues because it was so loud. I was gonna be like, oh, just pretend I'm Kelly Gooch because she lives in New York City and there's like always background noise. For now, I am just lucky. Today's video is very exciting because it is a collaboration with Shawna. We've done a couple of videos before. The last one we did together was actually a collab, like together in person, which was a lot of fun. But this one we're doing separately, but sort of on the same topic. So if you are not familiar with Shawna, make sure to go check out her channel. I will have her linked below. If you like my channel, you are definitely going to like hers because we talk about similar concepts. We talk about makeup low buys, conscious consumerism, getting as much as you can out of your makeup collection. She's been on a year of contentment this year, which is basically more focused on enjoying what you already have. Yeah, I am totally in line with that. So she is also kind of doing Vlogmas. She's putting out a ton of videos in December. So again, please make sure to check her out below. But today's video, as you can tell from the title, is what I would do if I started a makeup no-buy in 2023. I gave myself a little hair trim a couple days ago because I wanted like these pieces shorter, but it still feels too long. Like I feel like this looks weird. You know, I want to be able to wear these pieces in front with a bun, but I think they need to be more shoulder length. What do you think? Might have to get my scissors in my hands again. If you have come here from Shawna's channel, I'll just give you a brief introduction. I started my makeup no-buy in 2019, and I didn't really have any plan as to how long it was going to take place. And in fact, at the beginning, I wasn't even intending to do a no-buy. It just sort of happened that way. But then, you know, by the time it had been a year and it was 2020, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm just not buying makeup. Should I continue? And I did. So in 2020, I think I brought, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 new things in. Like I still bought a couple of things, but not very many. Although I was still buying skincare as I needed it. And then in 2021, I was getting kind of tired of the no-buy. And so I said, okay, I'll finish it out this year. I'll have it be a 3-year makeup no-buy and then I'll be done. But when I got to the end of the year, I was like, oh, there's specific items that I want for sure, but I don't feel the need to go back to my previous purchasing habits. And so now I'm more on like an unofficial low buy. I have brought quite a few new things into my collection this year. Well, quite a few new things, fewer than 20. So, you know, far lower than many makeup purchasers, but most of them were secondhand. I didn't purchase them outright. And this is sort of how I've figured works best for me and my relationship to makeup and to conscious consumerism. Soon I will definitely put out a video about my 2023 makeup plans, what I want to do in terms of, you know, makeup no buy or low buy, and also an inventory video where I'll show you everything in my makeup collection. But for now, I'm just going to be talking about if I knew everything that I know now. If I was starting a makeup no-buy for the very first time at the beginning of 2023, how would I do it? What processes would I implement? Would I do it differently than I already have done? Or would I stick along the same lines? So honestly, when I was thinking through how I approached my no-buy, and even looking back on my older videos talking about my tips to start a makeup no-buy and my relationships with my makeup over the years, I was honestly pretty impressed with myself. I was like, wow, I did a good job. And I think that you can tell that because here I am still on this conscious consumerism journey. I never went back to my pre-no-buy purchasing habits, impulse shopping. I have gained a much better appreciation for how long it takes to actually use makeup and also what my preferences are. So overall, my no-buy has been an amazing experience, and in part that is because of how I approached it and what I did. So for the most part, I would do everything as I've already done. And if you're curious how I've done that, I will link below some of the videos talking about my tips to stick to your makeup no-buy and what I did right, what mistakes I avoided. But there are quite a few things that I could have done better. And if I was starting a no-buy for the first time in 2023, And if you are starting Makeup No Buy for the first time in 2023, these are just tips as to how to approach it in the best way possible to ensure that you will stick to it. And also, some of these things I think I am going to try to implement in the new year, because I'm not on a no buy in the way that I was previously, but I am still on a low buy, and there's always things that I could do better. It's never too late to take my own advice, because sometimes I give advice in these videos that like I don't even implement in my own relationship to makeup, which makes no sense. But yeah, I will let you know what those things are. So after that big introduction, let's get into it. So the first thing I would do, and I have said this before, but it bears repeating, is inventory everything. Now, up until the end of 2020, like December 2020, I didn't actually know the full extent of my collection, and that is because I had never done a full inventory of my makeup. December 2020 is when I put out videos showing my full collection, so if you're interested, I will link those. I will also have a updated inventory video or videos coming within the next few weeks, but it took me that long to actually inventory everything, and part of it is because it was so daunting. I knew how big my makeup collection was, and I just didn't want to have to deal with it, sorting everything out, how long I knew it would take, and it did. It was a big undertaking, but also because I knew a lot of the products I had, I was kind of ashamed about. Some of the things, and still to this day, I have things in my collection that are so old or just like so broken. Not as much now, but like if you watch my videos for any length of time, you know that I'm frequently like, so the packaging's broken, but the product still works. And that was even more the case a few years ago. Now I've sort of minimized the amount of broken makeup in my collection, but yeah, in years past, I was just using things up where I think a lot of people probably wouldn't, and so I didn't want to show that. I didn't actually want to be honest about what my makeup collection looked like. I'm on YouTube, you know, I wanted my collection to look good. Like, YouTube is kind of about aesthetics, as is makeup. I mean, it's about more than that, but aesthetics do matter. So I didn't want to show a collection that I wasn't proud of, and it's just been in the past 12 months that I've been proud of my collection. And so I've been comfortable inventorying everything. But that's not to say that I couldn't have done a solo inventory of my makeup before that, even if I didn't want to publicly share it. I totally could have, you know, counted all of my blushes, all my bronzers, all my mascaras. I could have done that for the first time when I decided to actually go on a Makeup No Buy, but I didn't. And so because of that, unfortunately, I don't actually know, you know, how big my makeup collection was at its largest compared to today. It is so satisfying to see, oh, you know, I don't really like bronzers, so I shouldn't have that many, but I used to have 8 and now I have 3. Like, that, it feels so good to know that you have curated your collection, and I can't visualize that kind of curation because I don't know what I was up against. So yeah, I can compare my collection this year to my collection last year, but I can't compare it to 2018, for example. So if I was starting my Makeup No Buy in 2023, and if you are, my first piece of advice is to inventory everything you have so that you have a baseline, so that you have a point of comparison. If not a video, then just track it on a spreadsheet. This is something that I should do because I think I did track it. I think I have this information in a spreadsheet from last year when I did the inventory. I'm gonna have to add to that spreadsheet when I do the inventory in January this year. And this just also helps with staying motivated, you know, seeing the progress you've made, and it acts as a kind of reward. And rewards, I think, are important depending on how long this journey is for you. As I'm looking through the tips I wrote down, I'm realizing how many of these things have to do with tracking, because tracking is honestly important. I think part of the reason that I have actually stuck to this no buy is because I've been tracking through YouTube. Like, I have visual reminders of how far I've come, what my collection used to look like, and I can see visually, like, you know, what makeup I used to have. If I hadn't been tracking through my YouTube channel, I just wouldn't have been that motivated. And I'm not saying that like you have to have a YouTube channel, but I think tracking in some way is very, very helpful. So on to my next one, which is track your empties and declutters. I currently do not do this. Unfortunately, the only way that I track is through my videos. Every few months I do a video showing all of the empties and declutters from the past few months. And like, it's so easy to forget what is no longer in your life, to the extent that if I look back on my empties and decluttered videos from 2 times ago, so 4 to 6 months ago, I'm like, wow, I didn't remember. I'd completely forgotten that I had that product, or I didn't realize that I had that concealer so recently. It feels like it's been gone from my collection for ages. So I wish that what I had done is actually write down, as well as do videos showing this, write down everything that I declutter in a month, so that I know at the end of the year, okay, I decluttered 15 products, I decluttered 20 products over the course of the year. Because now, as it is, I know how many products left my collection through panning, because I have a bag full of all of my empties, because I'm going to bring that to L'Occitane, and also because I want to show it on YouTube, all the makeup I panned this year. But I don't have a bag of all of my declutters, because as I declutter things, I get rid of them, And so I don't have a full, complete idea of how many things actually left my collection this year. So next year, I think I'm going to try to implement this. After I do a video showing my empties and declutters, I'm just going to write it down, so that at the end of the year, I have a fuller picture. So yeah, if it works better like as a picture for you or writing it down, this would just really help you to visualize the progress that you've made. And again, this just goes back to rewards and staying motivated. The next tip is to track your usage. And again, this is a little bit ironic because I do not track my own usage. I actually never have. The only way that I track my usage is through some of the products I have, like particularly eyeliners. I track it for my project pan. So I have like a piece of paper and I mark how tall the eyeliner is, and so that the next time I can actually see a visual reminder. And this is super helpful, but the best way to track usage is to actually write down how many times you are using products. I don't do this because I just find it cumbersome. It might be easier if you get ready in your room, like at your desk, and then you can just have a little notepad there where you can mark as you use each item. But I don't have space to get ready in my room, so I get ready in the bathroom, and I obviously wouldn't have a notepad there, and so it would just be annoying to remember to do it afterward. I mean, I could do it, and I should do it, because that would also help me with understanding how long it takes to get through makeup products. I mean, I can see broadly I get through one bronzer every year, for example, but it would be much more concrete to see, oh, it takes 300 uses of a bronzer to actually use it up. I don't think that this is as necessary for me to do as someone who has experience with the makeup no-buy and has some sense of how long it takes to get through makeup products. But if I was just starting out my makeup no-buy, or if you are, then I really advise you to track how many times you're using each product so that you can get a more concrete idea of how long it takes to get through makeup, because it is a lot longer than you expect. I can tell you that. Because I've been on a makeup no-buy for like 4 years, I know a decent amount about makeup and no-buys, but it's just a more efficient way to learn about makeup and your relationship to your products. Okay, this next tip, I think that this is something that I have said before as well, and maybe it seems intuitive to you, but to me, who did not have a good understanding of expiration dates and how products work and formulations and all that, it honestly just did not occur to me. And the thing that I would do is pan my liquid and cream products first. Right now, you may know me as someone who does not like liquid and cream products, at least insofar as it's possible. I'm fine with liquid foundation. Like, I'm not a powder foundation girl, but in terms of bronzers, blushes, highlights, I much prefer powder products. I know we've just been through this big phase of cream, blush, and highlight and bronzer and all that, but I've just found what works best for me is powder. And so I have decluttered the majority of my cream products, or I had to throw them out because they were not good anymore. But what I really should have done is start off with panning these products, because they expire quite a bit faster than powder products. And if not pan them, then I should have at least decluttered them at the front end of my makeup no-buy, because as I say, they go bad a lot faster. And because I was so slow to work through things, and I didn't declutter as much as I should have. If I had decluttered them at the beginning of my no-buy, then someone else could have gotten use out of them. But because I didn't, by the time I got around to using them, a lot of them had just expired and got bad, and I had to throw them out. I still have a handful of cream products, and I do have one liquid highlight that I'm currently working my way through. But yeah, the reason that I don't have many anymore is frankly because they expired, so I should have started with those things. My next tip just has to do with project panning. And if you're watching this video, if you're in this community, then you probably know what it is, but I was not really aware of it at all when I started my no-buy. I just sort of stumbled into this community. I'm so glad I did. But it was kind of a surprise to me, and project panning has been one of the best parts of this low-buy journey, just discovering that this is a thing, because now I find it so much more satisfying to get through products, to finish them off, than to bring new things into my life. And like, that would have been just such a bizarre idea before, but now if I was starting my makeup no-buy in 2023, and if you are, I would highly recommend, researching project pans, make sure you know what they are to begin with, but then also just doing them yourself, whether that be through your own pictures and usage or posting on Reddit, I don't know, and not just doing project pans, but I would have also done other projects. This past year, I was doing the graveyard project pan, which I enjoyed so much and was actually more effective probably than my regular project pan, because I decluttered so many products through the graveyard project pan, because graveyard, these are old things which I shouldn't be hanging on to anymore, but it took me actually using them regularly to realize that. So definitely recommend doing project pan, graveyard project pan. I also did a pan those eyeshadows, which was also extremely effective. I had so many single eyeshadows that I just didn't really like, and so avoided using, that I realized that I don't need to keep. Like, I should just be getting rid of these because I never reach for them. I am actually interested in finding a new project pan to start in the new year. I will of course be doing the regular one, but because I had so much fun with the graveyard project pan, I want to do two at once. So if you have any ideas, someone recommended deck of panning, but honestly it sounded a little bit too complicated for me, so I don't know if I'm allowed to so I might do a pan those lipsticks, because my lipstick collection is huge and overwhelming. But yeah, I would highly recommend project panning. I kind of missed out on one of the tips that I was planning to discuss in this video because I combined two, but what I had intended to do was talk about beginning a project pan as one tip, and then talk about other ways to expand upon that as a second tip. So graveyard project pan, just other types of panning that keeps makeup interesting and fun. And the main thing I'm getting at is to find ways of engaging with makeup that is fun, that is not just buying new makeup. I have discussed this before, so I don't need to talk about it at length. But yeah, basically, play with color, play with different makeup looks, get inspired, try new techniques. I have for sure been doing this in the past, but there's a ton of stuff that I haven't done. So yeah, just have fun with the makeup that you do have. That really helps. I have two more tips. The next one is to prioritize not just decluttering, but also making sure that you have ways to declutter. And for me, the primary ways that I do that are through Buns, which is an app, and Facebook Buy Nothing groups. Now, I do need to give a disclaimer for Buns because I do talk about it a lot, but right now that app is going through something. They did an update in, I want to say early fall, and it is the worst. I don't know why they thought that they should do an update, but it made the whole app so much worse. So many fewer people use that app now because it's almost impossible to use, but I'm still trying my best out here, and I have hope that one day they will either revert the app back to how it was before or fix the problems that there are with it. So I use that, and also Facebook Buy Nothing groups, where you can just post whatever and there's always going to be someone who wants what you no longer want, within reason. Because I was decluttering at the beginning of this no-buy, but I wasn't really doing anything with those declutters. I think I just kept a box of stuff that I didn't want anymore because I couldn't decide if I should just throw it out, or if I should try to recycle it, or if I should try to give it to someone else. Again, a lot of those like semi-expired cream products, which I didn't give to anyone, don't worry, but I just had a box of stuff that I like hadn't really dealt with for a while. And it's because at the beginning of my no-buy, I was really unaccustomed to the idea of decluttering. I had never done that before because my goal had been to just hoard as much makeup as I possibly could. I think I'm a bit better at decluttering now and like getting things out of my collection quicker. Honestly, in that first year and a half, I didn't get anything out of my collection, even when I had like put things aside as like do not use anymore. But it is just such an efficient way to minimize your collection without actually panning stuff. And don't get me wrong, I am all about panning your makeup. I was just talking about project panning. But for those things that you know you are just not going to use, like you just need to get them out as soon as possible. It will make you feel loads better because your collection will be smaller, will be more curated. You won't be constantly feeling guilty because you're not reaching for those products that you don't want anymore. It will look smaller and like you have actually made a difference. Like this no-buy has actually had an impact on your collection. And I'm speaking to this no-buy from a position of someone who wants to minimize their collection. Like that is the main reason for this no-buy. Some people might be doing a no-buy because they don't want to spend money on makeup, but I think to a certain extent everyone has the goal of having a more curated collection. But yeah, I'll just say, like, in terms of my tactics of avoiding buying makeup, that was not really the problem for me, or that wasn't my goal. Like I didn't want to bring new things in, but what I really wanted to do was make my collection smaller. So that's what I'm focusing on here, just to be clear. And so once you have that more curated collection, because you have decluttered the things you don't want anymore, you will just feel fresher. You will be happier with your collection because it reflects more your preferences and the things that you like, and it will make you more motivated to keep going because you can see what a difference it's already made. And I found personally that decluttering things, as hard as it is for me to do sometimes, because I often feel like, oh, these products are my burden, like I need to take care of them, I need to finish them, I should be the one doing this, not passing it off to someone else. It does help to know that you are decluttering them to someone else who will actually get use out of them. Because if you're never reaching for them as much as you might want to, then they're just going to sit there getting wasted. So get them out. Okay, and then I just have one more thing that I would do if I was starting my makeup no-buy in 2023. And this is something that I have started implementing in the past, I think like year and a half, maybe a bit less than that, but that is to check in with myself regularly. And I do this in the form of my quarter annually in those videos where it's basically like a no-buy / low-buy check-in. I will link my most recent one here, and I will have one coming in subsequent weeks, sort of discussing the past few months and how it's gone, my relationship to makeup, what new things I have brought in. But I have just found this kind of check-in to be so helpful because even though I'm on this makeup no-buy / low-buy journey, my relationship to makeup is still changing all the time. I'm trying different makeup looks, my preferences are shifting a little bit. My collection is changing to some extent. It is getting smaller. A lot of things are leaving, a few new things are coming in. And so having these check-in periods to see how I'm feeling, if I want to continue on this no-buy or if I would rather switch to a low-buy, this really helps me to understand and to continue the no-buy, honestly. And I wish that I had done this from the very beginning of 2019 just to see that contrast, because I think I'm in a really good place with makeup right now, but at the beginning of my no-buy, I don't think that I was. But at least verbalizing that is helpful. So I think at least every 6 months it would be helpful to check in, but this way I can really see how much stuff I bring in each quarter and how my relationship to makeup changes throughout the course of the year. But yeah, that is it. That is everything that I would do if I was starting my makeup no-buy in 2023. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some things that I probably should have done differently, but I just know that, like, I wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't take my own advice. In the first little while of my makeup no-buy, I had very low standards for what I was using, so a lot of the makeup was just like not good. Like when I look back on pictures from that time, there is some really questionable makeup looks. And part of it is because I was trying to get out of my comfort zone and see if, oh, this eyeshadow palette, I never reached for it, but maybe I can do a nice look with it. No, I could not. And part of it is because these products were just bad, but I was trying to use them up anyways. Like, oh, my eyebrows look so bad some days. I had a couple of products that I used up that, like, I don't think I would now, because I don't know if no one said anything to me, but my eyebrows did not look good for most of 2020 and 2019. So I know intellectually I probably shouldn't have done that, and I should have just gotten rid of all of the, like, really not good makeup, but I probably wouldn't take my own advice. I know I probably would just do what I already did. I'll try to find some of those pictures, because you'll be like, wow, you just used whatever. And I really did. I think overall I did very well on my makeup no buy, and it has resulted in a really good relationship to my makeup collection and to makeup overall. But as I said, there are things that I could have done differently, and hopefully this video was helpful to you if you are starting a makeup no buy. Hopefully these tips, you are able to implement them in some way, and they will help you to stick to that makeup no buy. So again, make sure you check out Shawna's video. I will link it below, and I hope this helped you on your conscious consumerism journey, because my no buy has for sure helped me. I've been talking a little bit quieter because my partner is in the next room on a call, but I hope you couldn't tell too much. Anyways, at the end of every video, I talk about a book that I have been reading lately, so let's get into that. So the book that I just finished reading a couple days ago is called Know My Name by Shawna Miller. This is a fairly popular book, although I think most people were reading it in like 2019, 2020. So trigger warning for sexual assault. If you remember the Stanford rape trial, a man named Brock Turner was found sexually assaulting a young woman on the Stanford campus, and it was very, very well publicized. I remember keeping up with it a little bit, not a ton, but this is the memoir of the young woman, Shawna Miller, and her experience, her healing, and it was so well written. Like, I had heard that this book was good, but I was unprepared for how raw and emotional it was. I feel like I read quite a few books that are challenging, but this one I listened to on audiobook, and particularly towards the end, there was many times when I had to just stop. Like I couldn't deal with it. I found it too difficult. It was extremely impactful. I highly recommend reading this if you think you can. Yeah, I think this is going to be one of my best books of the year. I don't have words. This book made me cry a lot, but it also made me hopeful, and it was an excellent memoir. So I hope you read it. But that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will talk to you next week. Bye. Oh, and if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. That's coming up in a few days. If you celebrate Hanukkah, as I do, I hope you have a good rest of the holiday. And if you celebrate New Year or anything else, I hope you have a wonderful one as well.